I'm going to talk about the infrastructure pieces of what we have to do in a collaborative workflow. You say to yourself, well, that seems pretty easy. It just works. And that's the Apple motto, right? We always want things to just work. But why do we collaborate? I think the easiest reason is right up here. I often look at this that we all are editors. We all want to be able to create great things. But in order to create great things, sometimes we need an ecosystem around us that's people or better tools. Starts with a great idea, ends with a great story. And that's really what it's all about. So we have to have ways to enable this. And I think the real key here is that if we look at modern content production, it's actually really hard. It's really complex. Now, we saw what the new Mac Pro and what Final Cut 10 could do with 4K streams. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And today, you can connect systems to a Mac Pro using very fast Thunderbolt 2, and you're able to run a single system and get a really high number of 4K and beyond stream counts. But what about when you have a lot of users? Renee Hansen's example of TVX Tech is great. When you have dozens or hundreds of users that all have to connect together, the last thing you want to do is not have it all work. And what would stop it from working? What is it about multiple users in a collaborative environment that makes it hard in today's content production? I think the first thing is we all know that we work today with multiple camera formats, a lot of ins and a lot of outs. And why? Well, we talked today a little bit about shooting on Red with Dragon. We talked about some 4K native stuff. We talked about quite a bit. And realistically, it's only going to get worse. And we have to QA all that stuff coming in, QA that stuff going out. And that means that we just need to get the technology out of the way. It's all just has to work for us. So you need an environment that just works. Highly collaborative. So who here is an independent editor? A lot of you. Who here works with a lot of other people? Sure, calisthenics for a side. How many independents occasionally get pulled into working with other people? So we all know we want to work in a collaborative environment. You don't want to plug into something and not have it work. And I'll be honest with you, we love the new Mac Pro and we love Final Cut 10 because it enables you to do work that separates the collaborative environment men from the boys. In other words, you really have to have the performance behind it to be able to do it. One of the things is as more powerful tools come out, they enable us to be better. And I think it's very, very important in the workflows, and I want to talk to you a little bit in a minute about changing workflows, is that you work with these powerful tools in a way you've never done that before. So how many of you know Quantum as a company? Oh, fantastic. So Quantum as a company has been developing collaborative workflow environments for video almost 30 years. And happy birthday, Mac, by the way. And it is the only shared storage system that is 100% compatible with Xsan, that is certified on Mavericks, and works flawlessly with the new Mac Pro. And a lot of people ask me, they say, well, isn't StoreNext a SAN? Doesn't it require a fiber channel? And how do you plug that into the back of the Mac Pro? I don't see a place for a board. Well, hopefully most of you know that Thunderbolt is one of the fastest interfaces on the planet, and it's very easy to move it into things like fiber channel. But what you may not know is that Quantum introduced just, in fact, we just started shipping it this week, StoreNext 5, which is a complete rewrite of the StoreNext platform. Again, compatible with Xsan all the way back, but fully compatible with Xsan 3. And it's built to be what we call topology agnostic. So depending on what work you're doing, you can plug it into fiber channel. You can plug it into Ethernet. It just works completely independently. One of the other areas that a lot of people ask us is, well, how about the cloud? Can you plug it in the cloud? And the answer is yes, because workflows that are collaborative aren't always collaborative in one room. They're sometimes collaborative globally. And so a lot of what we're able to do today is truly global. So we know the hard work is done in between the creativity of a great idea and the creativity of being able to tell a great story. And it's usually done with a process that we call a nonlinear workflow. Well, to me, it looks pretty linear, doesn't it? It's what we've been doing for a long time. But we've gone tapeless, we've gone digital, but we still have to round-trip things in the workflow. And the reason for that, and I think I think you heard Luke talk about this when we talked about Final Cut 10 having a library where your content can live anywhere, and it can be all put in one place, and it can live on the SAN, it can live there. You want to be able to access that content. And so as we look at this, we say, well, you know, we always look at ingest to delivery and then archive. How many people have work that you care about and you work on and content creation that you want to keep for a long time? Right, so we have to think about that. And as we have 4K and beyond, guess what? That stuff gets bigger. I think I have a thumb drive in my pocket. It's going to be pretty hard to put any of these pieces on there today. So media workflow is evolving. And I think it's really time to kind of rethink the workflow. So at Quantum, we have really thought about this. We've taken a lot of time in the last 2.5 years of development saying 4K is coming. You know, people are going to be able to do more. Collaboration is getting greater. How do we do that? So here's what I propose. We're rethinking the workflow. We're going to bookend the workflow from an ingest and delivery point because that's what we do. But in the middle, we don't care where the media comes from, whether it's the work you're working with today or it's your archive. Has anybody heard of this term remonetization, where you come back and you say, I want to see it again? For me, I'm a little bit of a preservationist. You know, I want to save content forever. I want to have a forever archive. I want it to last 100 years. That's forever for me. I won't be around, but it sounds good. But I want the next generation to get it. So when we think about it, we have to think about how much that content's worth and what we work on, because that's our reputation. So this is what we normally see. We see people ingest, they have work in process, and they deliver. And I don't care if you're doing this on Thunderbolt drives connected to your system, or you're working on a SAN or any type of shared network. You have to think about, we're building more content, how do we preserve it? Now, as I said before, Quantum is a company that it builds professional shared storage systems. And we're in the ecosystem area, and I want to have an opportunity to talk to you about what we do, but I want you to think about one thing, and I'll leave you with that. That is that today we need to think about how we archive and we maintain this content. 4K content isn't small. It's not going to fit in your pocket. Anybody still here doing tape in, tape out? How many people, and I'm going to ask this question, how many people work or are delivered after things are acquired, they're acquired on SSDs or some media where it gets erased after you use it? And you probably only have one copy in your workflow. And what happens when that one copy is lost? It's a bad day, right? So we want to continue to look at archive as we archive on ingest, we archive on output, and just think about it a little bit. So I leave you with that. I also want to leave you with one last thought, and that's that collaboration and collaborative workflow is difficult, but companies like FCPWORKS make it easy. We were involved in what they did at TVS Tekka. They took it from the end to the end, and it's completely transparent to the user. And while it's still complex, it can be easy for you.